Hello, my name is Robert C. Jackson, and I am a contemporary artist from Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. For those of you from the Delaware Art Museum, you might know me for my painting The Apple Guy, which is part of their collection there at the museum. That painting is often hanging in the second floor in the contemporary galleries. You might know me from the 2016-2017 exhibition Truth and Vision, where my painting, Enough with the Bubbles, was hanging at the entrance to that exhibition. It was also, much to my surprise, used as a 20 by 60 foot billboard outside of the Philadelphia airport, welcoming people there on I-95. My goal was to show you my gallery there in downtown Kennett Square. But much as many of you know right now, the coronavirus has changed all of our plans. And unfortunately, I can't show you the inside of that studio as I had to move out, and I am here now inside of my wife's yoga studio in our house. I only had a couple hours once I discovered that I was supposed to leave Kennett Square, so I grabbed what I could. I basically got an impromptu setup that I think I can last a while with, brought enough canvases, and I'm ready to paint. So often as an artist I'm always asked, well, how does this affect your artwork? Well, right now we're going through something pretty big. We're wondering what's going to happen to us in the future. We're still at the beginning of this. But for me, right away I had to set down what I was working on and paint a piece called Social Distancing. You know, always these pieces come to me as kind of a narrative of what's going on in my life. I don't know whether people will understand it years from now, but now I find it funny. One of the biggest parts of my art is brainstorming. I hear a lot of artists talk about sitting in front of a white canvas and not knowing what to paint next. That would drive me insane. I always have a ton of ideas. I have a sketchbook. I bring it with me always. I'm always writing ideas in this book constantly. My kids for years have laughed at me. When they have a music program at school, when they have something at church, they always ask to see my bulletin. There's always ideas written on it. I do the same thing with the newspaper each day. If I see a word, I write it down. Same type of thing. I spend time going out to brainstorm. I'll go sit and have a cup of coffee. I'll go sit and have a beer. And I just write and write and write. And many ideas might never see the canvas, but they needed to write them down, because from those, if a germ of an idea is there, I can use it. And whenever I need a next painting to go to, I go back to my sketchbook. I look through it, and I usually know what my next 2 or 3 paintings are going to be. As you can see, some I color, some are just notes, some are clippings from things. They're all just a collection of ideas. And like I said, some I haven't done. I look back and go, wow, I'd like to paint that someday. Other ones, nah, that was really, really bad idea. But I keep them there. I even sometimes photocopy my paintings and paint on top of them to see, what I want to fix, what did I want to change. So there's often those in there, floor plans for museum shows. It's all part of this sketchbook. And I suppose at this point it makes sense to give you a little bit of a montage of some of my recent work. Here's bouquets. The artist's touch. Happiness not allowed. Spaghetti night. Phases of the milk. And how about we wrap it up with board meeting? As an oil painter, I've always painted still life. Still life is typically a bowl of fruit, a bouquet of flowers, things like that. I got bored with that relatively fast, but I did like setting up objects in my studio. I've switched over to making quite playful still life that always has a narrative and tells a story. To give you an idea of what I'm working on now, I have had a lot of commissions lately. Commissions are when a client comes to me, they like what I've been painting, they like what I do, but maybe they want some sort of personal touch. They want something a little different about a painting, or maybe they have a size that they're thinking of, and ask if I'd consider doing a commission. In this instance, the one I'll show you in a second that's on my easel, the client loved my Oreo paintings. They said, "Oh, those are so much fun. We also got a golden retriever puppy. What would you do recently, with that type of painting?" I thought about it for a while, came up with this sketch where I thought, often people look at my Oreo paintings and think of them as much like a cityscape. And I thought, if this little puppy has come into the middle of mine, in some ways it's like Godzilla. I found it funny that it's knocked over the milk and knocked over the cookies. So here's the painting that's in progress right now on my easel. So you saw the drawing, what it looked like. This is where it starts coming together. Basically, so it's not confusing for everyone, I always paint in a yellow underpainting. I do an acrylic there that seals in my drawing, so all this yellow will eventually be gone. But I have painted basically from here up. There'll be touch-ups from that point, but you see how much more alive it comes as I move forward and with the painting. I'm always a little surprised myself, and I guess you won't see it in this video, as to when I put in the background. Even for me, it's a little bit shocking as to how much it changes. Because the puppy's going to be casting shadows, there's going to be shadows here, and it gets rid of that kind of strong intensity that's there now with the yellow. But I like painting on yellow because it gives a vibrancy. It shines through a little bit into the final painting. By coincidence, my follow-up painting is also going to have a dog in it. It's another commission. I haven't done two like that in a row in a while, or I don't think I ever have. But this collector called me up and was interested in a large size painting also. They really liked my vinyl figures that I painted in the past. These are kind of a bit of vintage nostalgia of different advertising campaigns of maybe the 1970s. And they also had a little puppy named Lucy that they wanted to put in the painting. And I tried to think about it a lot as to how could I include them together. And I thought, what a funny thing is if they're all going to be tilted and staring at Lucy, and she kind of sheepishly looking back at us, wondering, what did you put me here for? So that's what I presented to them. They love the idea. And that will be what I start probably sometimes next week. You can see where I've started sketching it in. I usually, like I said, follow up one painting right away, knowing what I'm going to do with the next one. It's going to be an interesting time for us artists now. I'm always thinking of what to do next, but this stopped a lot of things, the virus. Most of my galleries are closed, I think they all are. Art fairs that I was supposed to be part of aren't happening. Fortunately, I have some commissions lined up that's keeping it going. But I also have things on the horizon. I'm supposed to have a show next October in Boston and a museum show in Connecticut in the spring of 2021 at the Mattituck Museum in Waterbury, Connecticut. So it's nice to have something to distract me, something else to think about, and to have some goals. I guess in conclusion, I just want to say thanks to the Delaware Art Museum for a chance to show you what my strange new existence is, and to really wish you all well as we go through this. We all have our turmoils and trials right now, so all my best.